All right, hi, fifth grade. This video is gonna be really quick. I'm just gonna show you some important things you need to know about using clay and how we're gonna put our project together. We're gonna go over it together in class, but this is just something for you to look at in case you need to get some information ahead of time, right? So you're ready to work when I get in there on Thursday and Friday. All right, so I'm going to go onto my document camera. And you're gonna have a piece of paper like this, and you're gonna set it aside. It's gonna have your name on it. This is where we're gonna keep your finished clay piece, okay, so that we don't forget whose is whose. All right, so the first thing is you're gonna get a chunk of clay like this, and you're just going to kind of flatten it out a little bit, and then you have to make it into a slab. You could do this with a rolling pin, but since we're doing something small, we're just going to pound it, flip, pound it flat with your hand, flip, pound it flat with your hand, flip. If you don't flip, it will stick to this mat. You want to make sure that you're flipping it. You want this to be at least about as thick as your thumb, okay? So mine's a little bit thin, but about as thick as your thumb. And then I'm going to give you a circle template that you're going to put on top and a plastic knife so that you can just cut out the circle. Okay, and then you're just going to pull away all the excess. And this is what is called your slab. Okay, this is the slab that's going to be the bottom of our bowl. All right, so I'm going to set this aside onto that white paper and just leave that to the side. Then you're going to use some of this extra clay, and you're just going to form it into a cylinder. And you want this to roll out very thin, kind of like when you were in kindergarten and you made a snake out of Play-Doh, right? You're going to make this into like a snake, but you want it to be nice and even. When you're rolling, what we call in the ceramic world, what we call this a coil. You want to roll from the heel of your hand right here all the way to the fingers. So you're always rolling between this part of your hand, okay? Not just right here, back and forth really fast. You want to roll the whole length of your hand. That makes it nice and even. Probably also going to want to stand up when you do this. Gives you a little bit better pressure. You don't want to push too hard. Just gives you a better motion, okay? But notice I'm rubbing both hands all the way from my fingers to the heels of my hand. I called the heel of your hand. I don't know. I think so. But all the way from the tips of your fingers to the end of your hand. And again, we're going to make these coils about as thick as our thumb. Okay? And in class, I'm going to have you roll about 3 of these. I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to go back and grab my slab. Okay? Now, whenever you are attaching 2 pieces of clay, you have to do what's called score, slip, and blend. So we're just going to start with scoring, and we have clay tools for this, but we're going to use a plastic fork. It's easy with the plastic fork. You want to go around the edge of your slab and rough up the surface with this fork. Okay, all the way around the edge. Then you're going to take your coil and you're going to do the same thing. Rough up the whole edge of that coil. You don't want your coils to be too skinny or the sides of your bowl are going to start to be really thin and they'll start to crack, okay? So once you have this rough with the fork and this too, you're going to use just a little bit of water. This is when, so I said you're going to score, so we scored, and then you're going to add the slip. In ceramics, normally you have a little bit of clay mixed in with this. That's why it's called slip instead of water. But we're just going to use plain water, and you're just going to take one finger and a little dip in the water, okay? And rub it over those scored edges. And then you're going to take the scored edges are going to match together. So you're going to start rolling around and wrapping around and wrapping around. When you get to the spot where they meet, you can take your knife and kind of cut a little wedge right here so that it will start to build on top of each other really nicely. Then you notice whenever we put two pieces of clay together, you have to score, slip, and blend. Every time you have to score, slip, and blend or it will fall apart. Okay, this is what's like the glue kind of that holds it together. So if I'm going to continue wrapping this around, I have to score the top of this coil, right? So I need to make some marks with my fork on here to score that. Then I'm going to add the slip. And then I'm going to continue to wrap around. So in ceramics, a lot of the times we think, oh, I'm just going to take two pieces of clay and mash them together and make a project. But if you don't do the score, slip, and blend, it doesn't stick. Okay, just for the video purposes, because I know you guys are on your half day, I'm not going to spend more time building more coils, but I'm going to show you how to blend really quick. So you can keep this coiled look, right? We can take some water on our fingers and smooth out these coils and keep this coiled look on the outside. But the very bottom, the slab and the first coil need to blend together. So for our purposes, I think it's easiest to just do this with your finger. You need to blend these two together, just that bottom slab and that first coil. Then if you want to leave that coiled look visible on the rest of the bowl, if you want to leave these coils, you can do that. But that bottom slab and the first coil, you have to blend together. You also have to do that on the inside. So this is called pulling the clay. So you're going to pull the clay with your finger down into that bottom slab. And then just keep smoothing it out with your finger. Now the coils, so you can see how this is starting to be blended together, right? You don't have seams like you do right here. On the inside, you need to make sure every part is connected with blending. So even the coils. You can only leave the coiled look on either the outside or the inside, not both, or your bowl will leak, okay? So on the inside, you want to go and make sure that it's blended all the way around, okay? So this is the start of what we're going to be doing, but just a few techniques that you really should always make sure you're doing is scoring, slipping, and blending whenever two pieces of clay are going to come together. So if you wanted to make an eye that you're going to attach onto this, right? You think, oh, I'm just going to make a round eyeball. I'm going to attach onto this bowl. So I got this eyeball, and you know what? I'm going to make a little pupil. And I'm just going to stick that right on there like that. This is going to fall off, right? This is going to fall off. So you need to score, slip, and blend. If I want to put this onto my vessel, right? If I want to connect this, or maybe this is going to be a flower or whatever you're going to turn it into. Part of you thinks, oh, I'm just going to take this round piece of clay and stick it on. I'm good. Nope. It'll just fall off when it starts to dry. So if I want to stick this on, I need to score on the vessel where it's going to go, and I need to score on the design that I made and put the slip in both spots and then put them together. And then I have to blend around the edges. Even if you wanted to see a line there, you still have to blend around the edges, and I can give you a tool to go back in and add some designs. Okay, so you need to blend these together. All right, so whenever we're putting clay together, you're gonna score, slip, and blend. All right, so that's the start of what we're gonna be doing this week, and I will see you guys in class.